What is up, everybody? Welcome back to our channel. My name is Al.
And I'm Therese.
And we are the Joneses. Listen, if you're new to our channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. So today we're going to walk you through a mock budget or a fake budget, a practice budget, if you will, of a couple making anywhere from $65,000 to $75,000 a year before taxes. In this example scenario that we're going to role play out, they're going to be bringing home about $4,500 a month together. And then we're going to put it in the Excel sheet, play around with some numbers, and then just kind of show you how we do it ourselves.
Yeah, because I know there's budgeting apps out there, and there's all different kinds of ways that you can budget. You can use pencil paper, the budgeting apps, Excel. This is just how we use Excel to lay out a budget.
Yeah. So hang with us, and here we go. Alright, so like we said, this budget is based off a couple who makes $4,500 take home. So that might include somebody who makes $65,000 to $75,000 per year as a couple. Before we get started, I want to bring attention to these percentages on the side here.
Yeah, these percentages on the side represent typical expenses that people incur each month, and these are just kind of guidelines so that you can kind of stay within these percentages, or they'll let you know if you're overspending in a certain category. So we're believers, so we believe in paying tithes, 10% of our income. So we have that at the top, 10 to 15% charity tithes. So if you don't believe in paying tithes, of course you can skip this category. Then we have housing, 25 to 35% of your income, and that would include mortgage, rent, taxes, homeowners insurance, repairs, renter's insurance, all that together makes up that 25 to 35%. And then we have food, and this category includes groceries and dining out, and that should be about 10 to 15% of your income. And down to utilities, which is 5 to 10% of your income. That includes all electric, water, also includes cell phones, cable, internet, and so all that together would be between 5 and 10% of your income. And then we have the transportation, which is 10 to 15% of your income, and that would include any car payments, any insurance, gas, or maintenance. So that should be within 10 to 15%. And then we have savings, 10 to 15% as well, and that would include any retirement funds, sinking funds, which are savings for future large purchases, college funds, anything like that would fall into this category. And last but not least, we have the other expenses, which is kind of like a catch-all for any expenses that weren't listed at the top. So for us, we have 2 children, so the daycare would be a large part of our other expenses bucket, which probably is over this 25%, but for us, we probably spend less on food, and we don't have car payments, so less in those buckets would make up for the larger amount that we pay for daycare.
Yeah. So then switching over to the actual budget. So like I said, this budget is based off a couple who makes $4,500 take home. So basically we have the streams of income up here at the top, and then we just simply subtract going down the budget. So this couple brings home $2,250 every 2 weeks, and we've actually split the budget up into two portions of the month, because what we found is that some budgets just lump all the income and then subtract all the expenses. Well, we know that most people don't get paid all their money at the beginning of the month or at one time of the month and then have all their bills taken out. So for us, we put all the top heavy, basically we put all the bills that are due at the beginning of the month. So all the bills that are due between the 1st and the 15th of the month are listed here, and all the bills that are due between the 16th and the end of the month are listed on this side. So starting here, you have your expenses. You have $225 subtracted from your income, and that's what you have budgeted. And these things don't change, or they shouldn't change much at all. So your tithes should still be 10%. The actual, you budgeted $225, you actually gave $225. Your rent or mortgage was $1,000. That stayed the same. You gave $1,000 this time. You go down to, this person has a car note of $350 a month. So it comes out at the beginning of the month. They budgeted $350, they paid $350. We live in Chicago, so we threw an iPass on there. This is something that we actually spent money on for tolls and stuff. So this was $40 for $80 a month, but we broke it up for for the first half and the second half of the month. So this one is $40. So we budgeted $40. Actual was $40.
Yeah, and I want to just say something right here because I know we have a previous video, Budgeting 101, that would help you come up with these numbers for a budget. So just to let you know, we didn't just pull these out of the air. You should know when you set your budget how much you actually pay for tolls.
Yeah.
So I know at one point in our life we were paying $120 in tolls. So putting 40 on here for the first and 40 for the 15th wouldn't be doing us any justice if we're actually paying more than that. So.
Yeah. And then moving on to these color coded sections. So for the next one is.
Yeah, so for these sections, gas, groceries, dining out, and personal expenses, you may not just pay once a month and like a whole $150 for gas. Like you make multiple purchases of gas. Like you may get gas once a week, a couple times a week. So for these, we have extra sections at the bottom so that you're able to list out the actual purchases, and then the total amount spent would fill in for this actual column. So for gas, the budget is $150, and then down here, whenever you purchase gas, you would fill in your actual purchases. So this couple purchased gas 4 different times. So I have the store that they purchased the gas from, the date, and the amount. And so this total 140 would pull into the budget. And it's the same for groceries, dining out, and personal expenses. So every time they bought groceries, they dined out, they bought gas, or they made a personal expense. These running totals would fill into the actual column of the budget.
Right. So, like I said, this couple budgeted $150 for gas for the first 2 weeks. They spent $140, which means the difference is they were $10 under budget. Same thing for groceries. They budgeted $200 for groceries. They only spent $172, so that means they were under budget for $28. They budgeted $50 for dining out. They actually spent $75.92, which means they went over $25.92. Personal expenses, they had budgeted $150. They actually spent $187, so they went over budget again for $37. So here it shows what is that?
Total budget.
The total budgeted items, and then this is what you actually spent. And the difference. So this person actually went over budget for the first 2 weeks, $24.92. Yes. And then moving on to the second half of the month, the couple, they didn't make any extra income, so they still brought home $22.50. Start again, ties right at the top. Take away ties, you budgeted $225, you actually paid $225. You had your cable or internet, budgeted $85, actual $85. Netflix $12, actual $12. ComEd, you had Nightcore, water, your cell phone, and your insurance, all basically your actual matched up with your budgeted, so there was no difference there.
Yeah, this couple, if they're like us, they would have made this budget the month before and already had actual numbers. Yeah. So that's why the actuals and the budget's tied, because they already had their bills in hand when they were putting the budget together for this month.
Yep. And then again, we see iPass shows up again, budgeted $40. 40 came out, and they budgeted $150 for this second half of the month, and they actually only spent $80. So they actually were under budget, $70 for the second half of the month.
They probably were staying in place for
right, for coronavirus, so they were staying in place, so they didn't spend money on gas. And then groceries, they budgeted $200 for groceries, and they actually spent $163, so they were $37 under budget. And then for dining out, they had budgeted $50, and they spent $79 for dining out. I think they went to Cheesecake Factory, which probably blew their budget out the water.
It was good though.
So they were $29 over budget, and then you have the gym fees. They both go to the gym, pretty in shape. So budgeted 50, actually spent 50, and personal expenses, they budgeted 150 again, but they actually only spent 25. And as you can see, looks like the fella only got his haircut. He was the only one that had any expenses and got his haircut. And then they also paid the minimum payment on their credit card, which is $50. They budget 50, they pay 50, and they have a student loan payment of 150, and that's what they budgeted and that's what they paid. So if you can see, their total income was $22.50 for the second half of the month, but their expenses only come out to $16.52.
Well, that's their budgeted expenses.
Yeah, their budgeted expenses.
Now that we've talked about all the expenses for the month, now it's time to get to the good part, the amount that's left over for savings and or financial goals. So for the top half of the month, this is what we budgeted and this is what we actually spent. So after we have the actual information, we have $60 left over per the top half of the month. For the second half, we budgeted this column and this is what we actually spent. So we actually have $801 left over for the second half. So all together, we have income remaining of $861. So depending on what your financial goals are, that would either be going to savings if you're saving for emergency funds, sinking funds, whatever kind of funds you have, or if you're trying to pay off debt, if you're saving for a house, anything, this is what this money would be for. And this would be your motivation to stick to the budget to get $800 left.
Yeah.
Because as you can see, the beginning of the month we went over just a little, and then the second half we kind of got back in line, and
It was
under budget by $200. So that was an extra $200 that went to this income remaining, which is for savings and financial goals, which we have right here on this line. So whatever your goal is, you can name it here and put it on the sheet. So that this would be 0. So let's just say this person is paying off debt. So we're going to put it all right here. This is their debt payoff. And now this is a zero-based budget. It's all gone. It has a name on it now.
Yeah, you applied it all to somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then also, this is a great time to assess your debt and the importance of paying off debt. Like some of you know, we paid off $64,000 of debt in about 28 months, and we actually gave ourselves a almost $1,100 raise just by paying off debt worth of payments. So this person has a credit card, a student loan, and a car note, and that comes to, what is that? $550 in a month that they spend on debt payments. Mm-hmm. So if they were able to eliminate $550 a month and then add it to the $861, they would have $1,411 a month to do of extra money to do whatever they wanted with it. So whether it's investing or saving for a house or whatever the case may be, they would have that extra money if they got rid of debt. So you go from $861 to over $1,400 a month of free money. All right, so I hope that was helpful. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to comment below, and let us know what you think. And we'll definitely be doing more mock budgets of different income and salary ranges to kind of show you scenarios to show you what you can do with numbers. So we hope this was helpful. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, and we'll see y'all good people next week. Peace.